In this video, we're going to look at another example of a complex shape and use some different tools of overcoming it. Alright, so in the last lesson we talked about creating this shape. Now it may not appear to be very complex, but it did have some challenges. The one challenge that it had was how to go from a cylindrical shape to something kind of like a half circle, and how do we keep the thickness of that all the way through. So now what I want to do is I want to take a look at this next piece, which appears to be multiple pieces, but I want to build it as one, just to give you some more practice in how to build complex shapes. So looking at this, we have something that looks kind of like a box, but then it has this half circle on the bottom. We can definitely see this from the back. So let's hit V and then K, and you'll see it here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create that shape. Now then, after that, we have this shape that extrudes off the top into this kind of J shape, or upside down J shape. And then we have these little pieces that extrude off of that. So let's take it one step at a time. So based off what we learned in the last lesson, it's best to start off with the main primitive that you can see, and then extruding off of that is a lot easier. So let's go ahead and use a box. Go to Create, Geometry, Standard Primitives, and then Box. And we could use the cube creation method, or we can use the box method. Either one is fine. Let me go ahead and use the box method. I'm going to left click and drag out a box to right about here. Don't forget your height, so you need a left click to create that. And then we're going to go to the back view by hitting V and then K. And I'm going to grab my move tool, and I'm going to pull this over to the left. And then I'm going to effect pivot only and then center that to the object. And then let's just grab our move tool and set this to 0. And in our Y, let's hit 0 as well. Actually, we probably should have left that where it was at. That's fine. Let's pull that back into position. And then back in our back view, let's go to vertex mode. First, we need to convert it. Let's hit Alt X, go to vertex mode by hitting 1, and then select all those vertices and then scale them in the X. So something right about here. Now, how do we get this half circle shape? It looks like it connects from this vertex over to here. I'm going to show you a new tool. It's called Hinge Along Edge, and this is an extrusion tool that is really, really cool. The first thing that I need to do is I need to create a center line for the polygon to hinge along as it's extruding. So I'm going to go to Edge Mode. I'm going to select this edge and then hit Ring, and then we'll just use Connect. Go ahead and click on the settings. Make sure that it's set to 1 and 0 and 0 on the pinch and slide, and then hit OK. Now that we have that, let's go to Polygon Mode. Let's hit P on the keyboard to go to our perspective view. Select this polygon right here, and then we're going to extrude this across underneath. Now before I start extruding using the hinge along edge, or hinge from edge, I'm going to delete the polygon that I'm going to. So let's delete that. Let's select this polygon, and then we're going to use hinge from edge. Go ahead and use these settings, and you'll notice here that it will start to hinge or extrude off of that. Now what I need to do is I need to choose the hinge or the edge that we're going to use first. So let's use this pick hinge. Click on the edge in the center, and you'll see it starts to extrude off of that. Now I can add segments to this, and you'll notice it starts to smooth out, but it's not going to the other side. That's controlled by the angle. So if I type in 180 and hit enter, you'll notice it hinges all the way around to where I need it to be. Let's go ahead and add more segments to this, and let's do 6. I think that's a low enough number to where we can still work with it, and then we can also smooth it out very easily. Now this does create triangles, and that's okay. This object is not going to be deforming in animation, so triangles will be okay. If we wanted to clean it up, using 6 edges or 6 segments in this, we could easily delete every other edge in that. But it could create some issues later on, so we'll leave it just as it is. It's always good to think about whether or not a triangle is going to break the smoothing or deformation. And if it's not going to do either one of those, leave the triangle as it is. Now with this, let's hit OK. And then let's hit delete with that polygon selected. Because now what we need to do is we need to weld these 4 vertices here. Now you might be saying, whoa, you miscounted, there's only 2 there. Well, look right here, it says 4 vertices selected. We have 4 vertices that are overlapping one another. You can definitely see this by going to Views, X View, and then Overlapping Vertices. Notice the 2 vertices are highlighted in green. Now it's actually telling us there are 4 vertices that are overlapping. So now what I can do is select those and then hit Weld, and then now it's saying 0 vertices are overlapping, and now we only have 2 vertices selected. That's a great tool to learn or to use to optimize your meshes. So now that that has been done, we've got that shape. Let's talk about how to get the rest of it. So in the left view, you can see here that there's this piece that extrudes up in this J shape, upside down J shape. And then we have a piece that extrudes off of that. It's kind of like an L shape. So what we need to do is we need to create the polygons that will give us the thickness that we need. So let's hit V and then K. I'm also going to hit Alt X on this piece here. Actually, let's hide it. Right click, hide selection. You'll see that it extrudes up and it has some thickness here. Now we can go ahead and go to edge mode, and with that edge selected there all the way through, don't forget that. So with that edge selected all the way through, we can use chamfer to split it into 2 edges. Now with that, let's go ahead and pull this down. Now you'll see here that by chamfering that, it gives us this really nice circle right here that we could easily quadrify. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get the thickness, so it's going to be about 0.5, and then we're going to hit, actually let's maybe add 1 segment, 1 more segment to that. That's really going to tear things up down there. It would be a lot easier just to go from here. So I'm going to hit OK on this, and then I'm going to go to edge mode and hit ring, and then we're going to connect that with a single segment, and then I'm going to go to vertex mode, take this point and this point, and let's go from here to here, and let's connect that. Oops, let's not forget this one up here. Connect that. It's going to give me this edge. I'm just going to hit Control Backspace. So now I have 3 quads right here. And then let's do the same thing here. Instead of this time, I'm just going to connect 2 at a time. All right, perfect. So now we have all the polygons that we need, and I need to extrude this up. Now looking at my left view, you'll notice it only goes halfway. It doesn't go the entire polygon width here. So let's go ahead and go to Edit Swift Loop and add the loop right there. Then I can just come into my perspective view and hit polygon mode by hitting 4 on the keyboard. Select these 2 polygons here, go to your left view, and then extrude. And let's draw this down. And let's go to 6 on that. I feel like that's a good number. And then we're going to go to Edit Swift Loop, add a loop right there, and then we're going to select the polygons along the front, and we'll extrude those. This time what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to extrude it before I get there, and then I'm going to apply and continue. Let's pull this down to right about there. I think 1.75, maybe even, and let's do 1.75 and hit OK on that. And then we need the polygons underneath, and then we'll extrude those down. And let's extrude it to where it goes down into that cylinder, and then hit OK. Now we need to get this shape here, and it's going to be very similar to what we've just done. All we need to do is just to prepare the polygons for it. So let's go ahead and just use Edit, Swift Loop. I'm going to add a loop right here to start this out. And then, let's see, extrude that down, That will be fine there, and then I think we'll be okay with that. So now let's select the polygons in the middle of this. Now, I don't have any polygons in the middle for that. So what I need to do is go ahead and grab those edges, that loop all the way through, and let's try chamfering this. Now this is going to give us a little bit of a different result. We pull this down. It's going to try to create that loop again, and we've created these n-gons right here, and that could be a problem. What if we tried the quad chamfer? Yeah, it's still going to give us that issue, but let me go back to the standard. I think this can be easily fixed, so I'm really not too worried about that. So let's go ahead and do a thickness of 0.15 and hit OK on that. And let's go to polygon mode, and let's grab this polygon and this one, go to our left view, and I'm going to need this shape right here. So actually I'm looking at this and I'm not really sure. Okay, I'm good. I was just looking at the shape that was underneath that. It's a separate piece. So let's go ahead and go to the left view, and let's do edit swift loop. Let's add a loop right here at the bottom of that. So now if I go to polygon mode, oops, try that one more time. Let's take this one, let's extrude this, and we're going to just simply extrude that, and we're going to do by local polygon, and it's going to give us a really odd result because we've just extruded that out quite a bit. So looking at this, you'll notice that it tries pushing that out, but it really just gives us a lot of issues, and I don't like the way that it's extruding them all at the same time. Now this can be something that's easily fixed. Let's go ahead and just extrude it out, go to vertex mode, and I'm going to select these vertices here, and let's use make planar in the X direction. And then we'll take these two and we'll make planar in the Y direction. So now all I have to do is just simply pull these forward like this, and then we'll leave that just the way that it is. Now I need one more to extrude out here. So let's go to edit, swift loop, and then under polygon mode, take that last set of polygons there, and we'll just extrude those out. So we'll hit extrude, and there we go. I'm just going to pull it out manually, and there we go. So now we've created this complex piece all out of one object, and it's going to fit just fine in there. Now let's go ahead and unhide all, and let's hit Alt X on this one, and we can change the color of this one, switch it to that gray material, and there we go. So now we've created the bracket part that's going to start holding the camera into place. So now that we have talked about how to do that, I want you to take some time to just kind of look at the other pieces and start looking at how we could possibly start modeling the piece that holds onto the camera here. And look at it in all different directions if you can, and just kind of start to analyze that and start thinking about different tools that you could possibly use to create that. And if you feel comfortable enough, I would challenge you to go ahead and start modeling that on your own, and then we'll talk about how it was created in the next video.